Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today I'm answering 3 subscriber questions about getting out of the military and serving in the reserves. So these first 2 questions are, when can I clear CIF and when should I request my medical record? Let's start with the medical record. My personal opinion is that you should request your medical record as late as possible. So wait to do this until almost right before you get out. The reason that I say this is because you want every single thing, every treatment, every injury that you have in the military, you want that to be a part of your medical record. You don't want to request it a couple months before you get out, have something happen, and then have to request it all over again. So, request your medical record right before you get out. However, if you're doing the VA BDD program, Benefits Delivery at Discharge, you can start that 180 to 90 days before you get out. So just make it simple on yourself. Start this about 90 days out. I don't really think you need to start 180 days out because that's a whole 3 months of stuff that you're not going to have in your medical record. So start the BDD process about 90 days out. Request your medical records whenever you start this. Your medical record goes to the VA, you get a copy, and you can do 2 things at the same time. Second, when do you turn in your CIF? Now, this is completely dependent upon your post. All I can do is speak for Fort Bragg. Now, at Fort Bragg, you can get your ETS orders a few months before you get out. Now, the ETS orders basically are like any other orders you've had in the military. They say, hey, you're going to proceed at this place, at this time, and it's basically just making it official that you're getting out of the military. Now, once you have these orders, you can schedule CIF. However, here's the catch. You can only schedule CIF within a 10-day window from the ETS date listed on those orders. So, what I would recommend, get your ETS orders as soon as possible, schedule your CIF, and try to make it 10 days or 9 days or 8 days before you ETS, because once you're 10 days out, you will go back and get another set of documents, your clearing papers. Now, your clearing papers is basically a checklist of all these different places on post that you have to go to and either turn in stuff or out process. Some of these have prerequisites, so you can't clear your unit supply until you've also cleared CIF. So you don't want to be trying to clear CIF 4 days before you ETS, have something get kicked back, and then put your whole process on hold. So schedule CIF once you get the ETS orders, and then you can only actually clear it once you get the clearing papers, no more than 10 days out. Now, this question is the tricky one. Can I join the reserves or the National Guard with a VA disability? The short answer is yes. The long answer is yes, but it depends. So, let me try to explain the process that I went through. Now, when I got out of the military, I completely separated. I completely hit my ETS day. I was in the IRR, right? And I wanted to join the National Guard. But I had a disability claim pending. It hadn't been decided yet, but they were working on it. They were trying to come up with a decision. I was going to all the appointments. So, when I went to join the National Guard, they said that anything over 30% was a disqualification for me. So, it doesn't matter if I came in there with a 30% disability, they wouldn't look at me. But because my claim was still in process, I didn't actually have a VA disability rating. So they were trying to get me to sign on to the Guard as soon as possible, because once you're in the Guard, and then let's say you get a 50% VA disability rating, they're not going to med board you, they're not going to chapter you out if you can do the work, if you're meeting the standards. Now, basically what I'm trying to tell you, if you want to do National Guard, if you really want to do reserves, and you also are thinking about VA, make sure that you get in the reserves or the National Guard before that VA disability decision is made, because it's like everything else. If they see that 30% rating, you might be fine, but they're going to look at that and they're going to administratively disqualify you. Whereas if you get in, you have a 30%, 40%, as long as you're good to do what you need to do, you are fine. Now, one other thing I will say about the VA and joining the Guard or reserves. When you join the reserves, you're going to have to fill out all the paperwork. Do you have knee pain? Do you have nightmares? Do you have a bad back? All that stuff, right? So be aware that these systems can talk to each other, right? These people can see what you've put on one thing. So if you do a VA claim and you say, my knee hurts, my ankle hurts, and then you go to the National Guard, you go to the reserves and you're putting, hey, oh, I'm fine, nothing's wrong. You know, if the VA finds that out later down the road, that could be evidence of fraud against the VA. Or on the flip side of that, if the National Guard and the reserves find out that you said they're fine and then you're not really fine, they can use that as evidence. So whatever you say, whatever you claim, just make sure that all of your stuff is the same, everything lines up. Last thing about the reserves and the VA. Now, this is something that caused me quite a bit of confusion and was almost the reason that I didn't even try to join the National Guard. And the reason behind that is some people say that you have to give up your VA disability pay to join the National Guard. Now, this is true to an extent. Most people explained it to me and said, yeah, let's suppose you're getting $300 a month for a 10% disability. You have to give all of that up if you want to be in the National Guard. That's not true. The way that it really works, and again, we're using $300 to make the math equal. Let's suppose you have a 10% disability for tinnitus, $300 a month. That is essentially $10 a day. So, when you go to drill 2 days per month, you have to give up that pay for the 2 days. You can't get paid by the VA and the National Guard or the reserves on the same day for the same stuff. So you have to give up essentially $20, but you get that whole National Guard, that whole reserve paycheck for the drill. Same thing, when you go to your 2-week annual training, you're going to have to waive, so let's say 14 days, you're going to have to waive $140 of VA disability pay. So, to summarize everything, number one, get your medical record when you start your disability process. If you're not doing a disability claim, again, quick word here, everyone should do a VA disability claim. The VA reps that talk to you, they're going to say you should. Why should you do it? Because anything that's injured, this injury can get worse later. So number one, do a VA claim. Even if you don't think you'll get awarded something, do it anyway so you have a record. Request your medical record when you do your VA claim. Number two, CIF. Schedule your appointment as soon as you can once you get those ETS orders. Number three, if you want to join the reserves or National Guard and you have a VA claim, make sure that you get into the Guard or reserves, that you sign that contract before you receive your VA disability rating. It's going to make it a lot easier for you. And then lastly, you don't have to give up all of your VA disability money to join the Guard or reserves. You just give up the portion that's prorated for the days of your training, your annual training or your monthly training. I hope you guys found the video useful. Like I said, these are all subscriber questions that were sent to me. So if you have a question, if there's something you want to know, let me know. I'll make a video about it. I'll try to help you guys out because this is information that I wish I would have had. See you next time.